Good morning, everyone. I'm Tom at Ledgemere Farm here in southern Maine. If this is your first time watching, we're a small family farm here. We raise cattle, sheep, and chickens. I retired from the military in 2017, and I've moved to our old family farm here. And so a lot of the things we're doing are things that I remember as a kid. A lot of the stuff I'm doing is stuff I read about, and a lot of the stuff I'm doing is things that I have no idea what I'm doing, and let me know what I'm doing wrong so I can fix it. Hop in. Get in. This is Chance. He's my dog. I got him 4 years ago. He's a rescue dog from North Carolina. He's part lab and part Catahoula. He has a sister, littermate, Lemon, who lives with us, and she, obviously same breed, but she really looks like the Catahoula. She's got the long nails, and she could almost climb a tree like the Catahoulas do. So Catahoula, they're a Louisiana leopard dog is another name for them, or a cattle dog. So they love to chase, which is sometimes is good and sometimes it's not. But they are a single coat dog, and so up here in Maine they get a little chilly, and it's almost that time of year where I got to put a vest on him so that he's not freezing, because he does like to go for rides. Right, bud? If this is your first time watching, please take a moment and subscribe to the channel. Would really love to have you along for the ride with us. We had a nice run of Indian summer, and I can tell that Indian fall is coming, because it was 48 this morning. It went from like 60 something to 48. So if you don't like the weather here in Maine, just wait a minute, it'll change, and you'll get the opposite pretty soon. The Farmer's Almanac says we're going to get a cold, long winter up here, so we put in extra wood, and the animals have got plenty of food, and right now we're just trying to tidy up and get the fall things done that need to be accomplished before it's one, so cold I don't even want to be out here, and two, the snow comes and makes it impossible to do it anyway. I've got a bunch of Concord grapes I've got to go pick up here in the vineyard, and Concord grapes are a really old variety of grapes. They have pits in them, but when they ripen, they're super sweet, and it's the main ingredient, obviously, in grape jelly and grape juice. I like to eat them just as they are. You just got to be careful of the pit, so it's easier to eat them outside. But they taste, when they're this ripe, they taste like grape bubble gum, and obviously they taste like grape juice. You could just squeeze them right now and drink the juice, and it would be the best grape juice you've ever had. And then when I'm done with that, I've got to go back to the fence around the garden that the cows keep knocking down. So stick around. I got a bunch of stuff to do today, and we'd love to have you hang out with us. My magic refrigerator. I put stuff in it and it changes to money. I drove up here because it just reminded me of the other project I got to do today, which is grab all these bags of soil that I had left over, and then we're going to move them over by Andrew's car. There's a mound where I took out some trees, and I got to get bulbs in. This is all the kale. We still got tons of kale left over. Lots and lots of tomatoes. Still got lots of jalapenos. Got spaghetti squash over there. Just lots and lots of tomatoes. Seriously thought I was done with fencing for the year. Trying to think how to make this work. I think I only have one gate hook left. I can either run posts upright at the gates and then run the wire across the top, which I don't really want to do that. I don't want to go buy more gate hooks at the moment.
Dad, don't you have those things like on that can hook onto the metal post? You strand those together.
Yeah, but you still got to have a connection so you can open the gate and drive through.
From the fence?
Yeah.
Why would these be?
So he's going to shut the power off to the fence and the pump house, and then we'll spin up around. Okay, shut that off there in the pump house and then hop in. So just a little bit manic today because I had somebody early that wanted Concord grapes, so I wanted to get those picked and put out. And then, of course, the cows stomped the fence down. I had the tractor issue that's been bothering me. And so now I'm just going to go fix this fence, and hopefully I've got enough electric wire to get around. Now I've got braided rope, which I'll explain to you here in a second. In an earlier video I did this year, there's a couple kinds of electric fence that are pretty popular. One is poly wire, which is very thin, and it's got like 3 strands of maybe like 20 gauge metal in it, and it twists, and it's very thin. It's hard to see even if it's yellow. And then you've got the poly rope, which is what I prefer, and you can see it here. You can see that whole line, that white. And so I've got it here. But I did mess up and I got 1/4 inch. I meant to get 3/8, and so it still works. And all the experts say that this is actually the best color. It's the most, because it's it's a zebra color and it's got a lot of contrast to it. So even like the fluorescent orange or yellow is hard to see, but this one right here, very easy to see. And so a lot of horses, a lot of people, farmers who have horses, prefer this. What I have to do is miss this barbed wire, otherwise we'll go. I've never really been a fan of hats. I'm not really a hat guy. I don't know, they contribute to my headaches, and these are here, I can have it loose, and it also works as a sweatband. So that's why I always wear these do-rags, and I've been doing that since I was in high school. And I remember my sister giving me crap one time and said, we don't wear those here. And so yeah, I was countercultural even back then, right? But actually, I take that back just a little bit. When I was a kid in the 80s, I always wore like John Deere hats. And I remember getting made fun of in school because I just loved farming, and of course I lived on a farm, and it was something a lot of my friends were familiar with. And so when I got into the real world where people weren't familiar with farming or agriculture, it was like, I don't know what to talk about anymore because nobody wants to talk about tractors and cows. These here are called 2-story nails, and so the purpose of these is you put it in an insulator and it goes in that far, and then later on when you need to pull them out, you've got something to hook onto right here. These are pretty common with foundations. When they build foundations, they'll they drive it into the first story, leave the second story out, and then when you tear your foundation apart, you can pull it out here. And I have a 5-pound box of these somewhere, and if you ask me where it is right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you where it is.
Run you over that.
Go drive around, I'll meet you on the other
Wait
side.
out.
I need 2 insulators first. This little pasture here was overgrown, kind of like down there, and I cleared it off a few years ago. The kids came out here with me and we got all the brush out, and it's kind of what we call the pet cemetery. There's a rock that I found that's kind of neat. I put there. There's a dog that we lost and a couple cats. There's a fox out here, a couple goats on the other side, a sheep over here, another sheep right here. I found this rock down here to my left. I thought it was kind of cool. Neat rock. And so, yeah, this is our pet cemetery. My daughter had built a lacrosse over here for a duck that she had. So this land over here used to all belong to the farm. I don't know if I've told you that before, but you can see that big tree, and there's one down that was a whole row of maples out through here, and obviously this wasn't wooded, and so it was cow pasture, and they had a row of maples. And then this is one of the dumps that we had here. I'm always finding, I don't even know what this stuff is, but there's a lot of things. There used to be a saying that the single walls were built within the boundary of the property and double walls were built on boundary lines. But if that's the case, that surely wasn't the case here, because this whole fence here, this whole stone wall is just a heap of rocks. This one over here is a single one, and I've got a lot of them where it's single, double. And I've even got some where there's a massive stone wall about 6 feet wide, a little gap, and then right next to it another 6 foot wide stone wall. So you've got 20 feet of stone piled up. And you saw me plow the garden yesterday. I'm still plowing up rocks. This place has been a farm for 200 years. This place has been plowed over hundreds of times, and I'm still pulling rocks out. Welcome to Maine. This is why after the Civil War, so many farmers from New England gave up and went to the Midwest, because the Midwest was open for business, and Maine used to be the #1 sheep producing state in the early 1800s. And then after the Civil War, like I said, when all the land became available, a lot of people in Maine just said, we're done, and they abandoned their farms and they moved out to the Midwest. So you'll see a lot of New England influence in places in the Midwest, and that's because the farmers relocated from up here. Every once in a while, one of the big cows will go up to one of the babies and give them a bath. It's kind of cool how cows do that. Right on the other side of that picket fence right there. They squashed it down. So I gotta run electric around and then go down to that gate. Close. Well, that's not helping it. It's definitely a little bit quieter here now that I have 5 less cows. The bells, I was hearing them in my sleep. Sometimes I would just wake up in the middle of the night thinking I heard cowbells. I was so paranoid about them breaking the fences down and getting out that, well, if you've seen the videos, you know that they were getting out. So anyway, here's what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 2 big ones are gonna go in January. Here's Luna. And Henry! Henry! Come here! There he is. And then there's Violet. I've been cutting off the grain for the sheep. They don't need it. They're not lactating. I don't know if they got bred. I sent the rams a little bit early this year. I usually send them in November, but I sent everybody in September this year. With katahdins, they are able to be bred at any point in the year, so they aren't like regular sheep where, you know, they come into heat only once a year, pretty much in the fall. Katahdins are able to be bred year long. So it's possible they were bred before I shipped the rams away. It's possible they weren't. I don't really care this year if they didn't get pregnant. They can have a year off. I'm gonna buy feeder lambs next year, and then those will be the ones that'll go to market. So it's always nice to birth your own lambs, obviously, but I'm okay if they don't. I can get feeder lambs at a pretty decent rate anyway.